13 car manufacturers just posted zero sales in multiple markets, and now they are dumping inventory at prices so low you will think I am making this up. While the media keeps telling you the auto industry is recovering and adapting to new market conditions, the reality behind closed boardroom doors is pure chaos. Dealers who once had customers begging for allocation are now cold calling anyone who walked through their doors 3 years ago. Brands that spent decades building premium images are slashing prices like a going out of business sale at a strip mall furniture store. You have been lied to about strategic market adjustments and seasonal fluctuations. The truth is these companies are in survival mode, and what they do next will determine who makes it to 2026. In this video, I am breaking down exactly which 13 manufacturers just recorded zero sales, why their desperate fire sale pricing cannot save them, and what this catastrophic collapse means for you whether you are buying or selling. Make sure you subscribe right now because this situation is evolving daily, and number one on this list is not just struggling, they have already started liquidating assets in preparation for a complete market exit. Number 13, Mitsubishi. The invisible brand syndrome has finally caught up with Mitsubishi in the worst way possible. Recent sales data shows entire metropolitan regions where Mitsubishi dealerships moved zero units for consecutive months. Not slow sales, not declining numbers, actual zero. When was the last time you saw a Mitsubishi commercial? When did you last notice a new Outlander or Eclipse Cross on the road? The brand has become automotive wallpaper, present in theory but invisible in practice. Their dealer network is evaporating faster than anyone predicted. Over the past 18 months, Mitsubishi lost nearly 40% of its United States dealer network as franchise owners either switched to other brands or closed entirely. The remaining dealers are skeleton operations, often sharing facilities with other manufacturers and dedicating maybe one corner of the showroom to Mitsubishi products. Walking into these hybrid dealerships reveals the brutal truth. Sales staff sometimes cannot even locate the keys to Mitsubishi vehicles because nobody has asked to test drive one in weeks. The inventory crisis shows vehicles aging on lots with some units approaching 400 days of lot time. In the car business, anything over 60 days is considered stale. 400 days means these vehicles have sat through entire seasons, accumulating dust and deteriorating from sun exposure and weather. Dealers are now offering discounts that border on absurd: 30% off manufacturer suggested retail price, 0% financing for 84 months, lease deals that make no mathematical sense. These are not promotions. These are liquidation prices from a brand that knows the end is approaching. What makes Mitsubishi's collapse especially tragic is that their current products are not terrible. The Outlander is a competent 3-row crossover. The Outlander Sport offers decent value, but competent and decent do not cut it when nobody knows you exist. In a market where Korean brands offer better warranties, Japanese rivals offer better reliability reputations, and domestic brands offer bigger incentives, Mitsubishi offers nothing compelling enough to overcome total brand anonymity. Number 12, Polestar. The electric luxury experiment has crashed before it even got off the ground. Polestar entered the United States market with massive ambitions, positioning itself as the sophisticated Scandinavian alternative to Tesla. The reality has been a masterclass in how not to launch a car brand. Multiple months of zero sales in major markets reveal a company that fundamentally misread American buyers. Their direct-to-consumer model confusion has left potential customers baffled about where to even see these cars, let alone buy them. The few Polestar spaces that exist are minimalist showrooms in expensive urban retail districts, designed more for brand awareness than actual sales transactions. But brand awareness requires people to actually visit, and foot traffic at these spaces is reportedly abysmal. Industry insiders report some locations going entire weeks without a single serious inquiry. The pricing disconnect is staggering. Polestar positioned its vehicles at luxury price points but lacks the brand recognition to justify those numbers. A Polestar 2 starts in the mid-40s and can quickly climb past $60,000 with options. For that money, buyers can get a Tesla Model Y with better charging infrastructure, a BMW with actual luxury credentials, or a Genesis with better value and comparable technology. Why would anyone choose the unknown Swedish electric brand? The charging infrastructure reality has also hurt Polestar tremendously. Unlike Tesla with its supercharger network, Polestar buyers must rely on third-party charging networks that are inconsistent in availability, reliability, and pricing. This creates range anxiety that Polestar has no proprietary solution for, putting them at a permanent disadvantage against Tesla, and increasingly against traditional manufacturers building out charging partnerships. Service network inadequacy presents another existential problem. When your Polestar needs service, where does it go? The brand has limited service centers, often requiring owners to travel hours for warranty work or repairs. Some owners report being directed to Volvo dealerships where technicians have minimal Polestar training and limited parts availability. This creates an ownership experience that contradicts the premium positioning Polestar desperately needs. Number 11. Genesis. The Korean luxury brand's American dream is becoming a nightmare of unsold inventory and evaporating showrooms. Entire months have passed in secondary markets with zero Genesis sales, revealing a brand that cannot expand beyond coastal early adopters. The standalone facility strategy has backfired spectacularly. Parent company Hyundai required dealers to build dedicated Genesis showrooms separate from Hyundai stores, investing millions in boutique facilities designed to compete with Lexus and Acura. The problem is traffic. These beautiful buildings sit empty most days because Americans simply do not think Genesis when they think luxury cars. Dealers who invested $4 to $7 million in Genesis facilities are now reporting monthly sales in single digits or actual zeros. The financial math is catastrophic. Real estate costs, staff salaries, utilities, and inventory financing cannot be supported by 3 sales per month. As a result, dealers are quietly walking away from their Genesis franchises, taking the financial loss rather than continuing to hemorrhage money monthly. Hyundai corporate faces a terrible choice. Either subsidize these failing dealers indefinitely or accept that the standalone luxury brand experiment has failed in America. The depreciation crisis is destroying any remaining value proposition. Genesis vehicles are losing value faster than almost any other luxury brand, with 3-year-old models worth 40 to 50% less than their original price. Compare that to a Lexus holding 65 to 70% of its value, and the ownership economics become impossible to justify. This depreciation impacts everything. Lease calculations require massive manufacturer subsidies to appear competitive. Trade-in values shock current owners who assumed Korean luxury meant Korean value retention, and residual value concerns make potential buyers hesitate even when the product itself is excellent. Banks and finance companies have noticed. Lending institutions now view Genesis vehicles as higher-risk collateral, leading to less favorable loan terms and higher interest rates for buyers. This creates another barrier in an already difficult sales environment. The quality perception gap remains unbridgeable for many luxury buyers. No matter how many awards Genesis wins from automotive journalists, a significant portion of luxury consumers simply cannot accept a Korean brand as truly premium. This is not rational. It is emotional and cultural, but it is also reality, and no amount of marketing can overcome decades of brand hierarchy that place German brands at the top. Number 10. Maserati. Italian exotics are supposed to be exclusive, but Maserati has crossed from exclusive into extinct. Sales reports show months of absolute zero in markets that once represented core Maserati territory. Wealthy suburbs, luxury shopping districts, exclusive communities, all reporting no Maserati sales for extended periods. The quality reputation collapse has finally caught up with the Trident badge. For years, Maserati ranked at or near the bottom of every major reliability study, with electrical problems, transmission failures, and build quality issues plaguing even 6-figure models. Enthusiast forums are filled with horror stories of quattroports requiring tens of thousands in repairs before reaching 50,000 miles. That word of mouth is poison in the small world of luxury buyers. Dealer network instability shows a brand in freefall. Maserati dealers are closing or dropping the franchise at an accelerating rate. Some luxury automotive groups that once proudly displayed Maserati alongside Ferrari and Lamborghini have quietly removed the brand from their portfolios. The remaining dealers often have inventory that has been sitting for over a year, accumulating carrying costs that make any sale at any price preferable to continued ownership. Depreciation has reached catastrophic levels that make these cars nearly unsellable. A Maserati Ghibli that sold for $80,000 new is worth perhaps $30,000 after 3 years. This 70% depreciation rate is worse than almost any vehicle on the market, luxury or otherwise. Buyers aware of these numbers rightfully view Maserati purchases as financial self-destruction. Parent company Stellantis shows declining commitment to the Maserati brand with reduced investment and unclear product strategy. New model launches are delayed or canceled. Promised electric vehicles remain vaporware. Marketing budgets have been slashed. All signs point to a company that views Maserati as a dying asset rather than a brand worth saving. The existential question facing Maserati is whether a luxury brand can survive once it loses all credibility. The cars are still beautiful. The heritage is still rich. But when nobody trusts the quality, nobody accepts the pricing, and nobody wants the depreciation, does the brand have any path forward? Number 9. Alfa Romeo. The Italian sports brand is sprinting toward irrelevance with months of zero sales in markets across America. Alfa Romeo's United States return was supposed to be different this time. Beautiful design, Giulia sedans that could challenge BMW Stelvio crossovers for the practical enthusiast. Instead, it has been another Italian tragedy of unfulfilled promises and empty showrooms. The reliability nightmares have destroyed any momentum Alfa briefly achieved. Early Giulia and Stelvio owners became unpaid spokespeople for Italian unreliability, sharing stories of electrical gremlins, mysterious warning lights, and extended dealer visits on social media and owner forums. Consumer Reports ranked Alfa Romeo dead last in reliability, a position that is nearly impossible to recover from in the information age. Product lineup stagnation has left Alfa with nothing new to attract attention. The Giulia and Stelvio are now entering their 7th and 8th model years without significant updates. In a segment where BMW, Mercedes, and Audi refresh designs every 4 to 5 years, Alfa's aging products look and feel outdated. The promised expanded lineup never materialized. Concepts came and went. Electric vehicles were announced then delayed indefinitely. Dealer abandonment is accelerating as franchise holders realize Alfa Romeo cannot sustain a business. The brand is down to fewer than 100 dealers nationwide, and that number shrinks monthly. Remaining dealers often share facilities with other Stellantis brands, giving Alfa few parking spaces rather than dedicated showroom presence. Sales staff at these combined dealerships sometimes admit they have not sold an Alfa in months and cannot justify keeping demo vehicles. Incentive desperation has reached levels that contradict any premium positioning. Lease deals offering $12,000 to $15,000 in combined discounts and incentives, 0% financing for 6 years, payment holidays and loyalty bonuses stacked to the point of absurdity. These offers scream desperation, telling informed buyers that the brand is in crisis mode. The cultural irrelevance is perhaps most damaging. Alfa Romeo once meant something: passion, performance, Italian soul. Now it means nothing to most American buyers under 50. Younger luxury customers do not know the history and do not care about the heritage. They want technology, reliability, and status symbols their peers recognize. Alfa offers none of these. Number 8. Infiniti. Nissan's luxury division is suffering a slow-motion collapse with 0 sales months becoming routine in smaller markets. What was once positioned as the innovative Japanese alternative to German luxury is now a forgotten brand occupying unwanted dealer lot space. The product irrelevance is nearly complete. When was the last time an Infiniti won a comparison test? When did an Infiniti last set a segment benchmark for technology or performance? The brand that introduced Americans to luxury Japanese performance has not led in anything for over a decade. Current products are competent but completely forgettable, offering nothing that would compel someone to choose Infiniti over Lexus, Acura, or European alternatives. Technology obsolescence has left Infiniti 2 generations behind in crucial areas. Infotainment systems feel ancient compared to BMW or Mercedes interfaces. Driver assistance technology lacks the sophistication of Lexus or Genesis systems. Connectivity and smartphone integration are afterthoughts rather than centerpieces. In an era where technology defines luxury, Infiniti has nothing to offer. The resale value catastrophe makes Infiniti ownership financial suicide. 3-year-old QX60 models lose 60% of their value. $45,000 vehicles becoming $18,000 used cars. No lease calculation can hide that kind of depreciation without massive manufacturer subsidies that destroy profitability. Owners wanting to trade out of their Infiniti vehicles discover their equity has vanished, trapping them in cars they no longer want. Parent company Nissan's financial crisis means Infiniti will never receive the investment needed for revival. Nissan itself is fighting for survival, closing plants and cutting models. The idea that Nissan will fund an Infiniti renaissance is pure fantasy. More likely is that Infiniti slowly fades away, joining brands like Mercury and Pontiac in the automotive graveyard. Dealers are preemptively jumping ship, closing Infiniti franchises before the official end comes. The dealer network has contracted by over 30% in 3 years, with remaining dealers treating Infiniti as an afterthought brand that occupies space but generates no meaningful revenue. Number 7. Jaguar. The British luxury brand just announced it is stopping sales entirely to reinvent itself as an ultra-luxury electric brand. 0 sales are not a problem for Jaguar. 0 sales are the current strategy. But this pause reveals a brand that completely failed at its previous mission and is now gambling everything on an unproven future. The quality reputation destruction over the past decade has been systematic and total. Jaguar consistently ranked at the absolute bottom of reliability studies, with electrical failures and mechanical issues making ownership a nightmare. The beautiful exteriors hid interiors filled with cheap plastics and frustrating technology. Owners felt betrayed by the gap between marketing promises and ownership reality. Resale value annihilation made Jaguar vehicles among the worst investments in automotive history. $80,000 F-Paces losing half their value in 2 years. XC sedans depreciating 70% in 3 years. This was not normal luxury car depreciation. This was value destruction on a scale that suggested the market had completely lost faith in the brand. Dealer network collapse has left Jaguar with minimal United States presence. Over 40% of Jaguar dealers closed or dropped the franchise in the past 5 years. Remaining dealers often share facilities with Land Rover, and many are skeptical about the brand's electric reinvention. Some are choosing not to make the required investments in Jaguar's next chapter, effectively ending their relationship with the brand. The electric gamble is all or nothing. Jaguar will reemerge as an ultra-luxury electric brand with vehicles starting over $100,000, competing against Bentley and Rolls-Royce rather than BMW and Mercedes. This is either visionary or delusional. Can a brand that failed competing against BMW successfully compete against Bentley? Can a name associated with unreliability suddenly command ultra-luxury prices? Parent company Tata Motors has committed to the strategy, but industry observers are deeply skeptical. The years-long sales pause means Jaguar is sacrificing current revenue and market presence for a future that may never materialize. During this gap, customers will forget the brand exists, dealers will move on, and competitors will fill the vacuum. The comeback will require perfect execution. And Jaguar has not executed anything perfectly in decades. Number 6. Chrysler. America's oldest automotive brand has been reduced to a single minivan, and even that is not selling. Zero sales months in numerous markets reveal a brand that has completely lost purpose and relevance. The single product disaster is unprecedented in automotive history. Chrysler literally sells one vehicle, the Pacifica minivan. That is the entire brand. No sedans, no SUVs, no sports cars. Just a minivan in a market segment that represents less than 2% of total sales. Building a brand on this foundation is impossible. Dealer frustration has reached breaking points. How do you justify a Chrysler showroom for one vehicle? Most dealers have merged Chrysler with Dodge or Jeep facilities, giving the Pacifica a corner of the lot. Sales staff cannot build careers selling one model to a shrinking customer base. Service departments cannot sustain themselves on minivan maintenance alone. Parent company Stellantis has offered zero clarity on Chrysler's future. Executives sometimes mention electrification. Other times they discuss mobility services. Occasionally they hint at eliminating the brand entirely. This strategic confusion paralyzes any planning or investment. Dealers do not know whether to commit to the brand. Customers do not know if parts and service will be available in 5 years. The brand equity erosion is nearly complete. Chrysler once meant something, American luxury, the town and country, the 300. Now it means a minivan that most people do not even realize still exists. Younger buyers have zero emotional connection to the Chrysler name. Older buyers remember when Chrysler meant more than a single vehicle category. The market positioning failure is total. Chrysler cannot be a value brand with one vehicle. It cannot be a luxury brand selling minivans. It cannot be a technology leader with minimal investment. It exists in a purposeless middle ground, waiting for corporate to either save it or kill it. Most industry analysts expect the latter. Minivan segment decline continues as buyers choose 3-row SUVs for family transportation. The Pacifica competes in a shrinking market against the Honda Odyssey and Toyota Sienna, both from brands with full lineups and healthy dealer networks. Chrysler brings nothing unique to this fight except a famous name attached to a dead brand. Number 5. Buick. General Motors' premium brand is recording zero sales in markets where it once dominated, revealing a complete generational disconnect. The average Buick buyer is now over 65 years old, and younger customers do not even consider the brand when shopping. The relevance crisis is existential. Buick spent decades building loyalty with a specific generation, but that generation is aging out of new car buying. Their children and grandchildren do not share the Buick loyalty. To buyers under 45, Buick might as well not exist. Brand awareness studies show single-digit recognition among younger demographics, a death sentence for any consumer brand. Product confusion has left customers unsure what Buick even makes. The lineup is entirely crossovers and SUVs that overlap with GMC and Chevrolet offerings. The Encore is a rebadged global platform. The Envision is made in China. The Enclave is a platform mate to the Chevrolet Traverse. Nothing feels distinctly Buick. Nothing offers a compelling reason to choose the Tri-Shield badge. China dependency has created a bizarre situation where Buick is hugely successful in China but dying in America. General Motors executives sometimes justify Buick's existence by pointing to Chinese sales, but that does nothing for American dealers watching inventory age on their lots. The brand exists in America primarily because it matters in China, a backward strategy that serves neither market well. Dealer network contraction is accelerating. Buick dealers are closing or consolidating with GMC stores at rates that suggest the brand will have minimal standalone presence within 5 years. Remaining dealers report months where they sell zero Buicks, surviving on service revenue from aging fleets rather than new car sales. General Motors' portfolio pressure puts Buick on the chopping block. The company killed Pontiac, Saturn, and Hummer during bankruptcy. It killed Oldsmobile before that. Industry observers widely expect Buick to be next, especially as GM focuses resources on electric vehicles and truck brands. The question is not if Buick dies but when GM officially announces what everyone already knows. Number 4. Lincoln. Ford's luxury brand is gasping for air with zero sales months, revealing a brand without identity or purpose. Lincoln's positioning confusion has left it trapped between mainstream Ford and true luxury. Is it an American Lexus? Is it a premium Ford? Is it a technology showcase? Nobody knows, including Lincoln's own marketing department. the nautical naming disaster has created customer confusion that hurts sales. Nautilus, Navigator, Aviator, Corsair, nautical themes that blur together in consumer minds. People cannot remember which Lincoln is which. This naming strategy meant to create cohesion instead created amnesia. Compare this to German brands where 3 Series, 5 Series, 7 Series immediately communicate hierarchy. Product differentiation failure has left Lincoln vehicles looking like fancy Fords. The mechanical similarities are expected in modern automotive manufacturing, but Lincoln has failed to create visual and experiential separation that justifies price premiums. A Lincoln Nautilus shares too much with a Ford Edge. A Corsair looks like a dressed-up Escape. Luxury buyers paying premiums demand more differentiation. Dealer network weakness has left Lincoln with spotty coverage and inconsistent experiences. Many Lincoln dealers are small Ford stores that added the brand hopping for easy luxury profits. Instead, they got slow-selling inventory and customers who cross-shop Ford's luxury trims and decide the Lincoln premium is not worth it. Quality perception gaps have prevented Lincoln from competing with Lexus or Genesis. Reliability studies place Lincoln in the middle of the pack, far from the top tier occupied by Lexus and increasingly by Genesis. Without a quality reputation advantage, Lincoln has no compelling argument against Japanese reliability or German performance. The Matthew McConaughey effect has worn off. Lincoln's atmospheric advertising created buzz but not sustainable sales. Once the novelty faded, buyers realized the ads were more interesting than the products. Marketing cannot substitute for compelling vehicles, and Lincoln's lineup remains forgettable despite beautiful commercials. Number 3. Acura. Honda's luxury division is recording zero sales in markets where it once thrived, exposing a value proposition that no longer works. The badge engineering problem has become impossible to hide. An Acura MDX is a Honda Pilot with a different grille. An Acura RDX shares its bones with the CR-V. The mechanical relationships have always existed, but Acura has failed to create enough differentiation to justify significant price premiums. Customers doing research realize they can get 90% of the Acura experience in a top-trim Honda for thousands less. Technology lag has left Acura embarrassingly behind in crucial areas. Infotainment systems are generations old. Driver assistance technology lacks the sophistication of Mercedes or BMW systems. The interiors feature materials and designs that feel outdated compared to Genesis or even Mazda. In an era when technology defines luxury, Acura has nothing to showcase. Performance identity loss has removed Acura's original reason for existing. The brand launched with the Integra and Legend as performance luxury alternatives. The NSX Halo car defined Honda's engineering excellence. Today's Acuras are competent but completely uninspiring. The new Integra is just a fancy Civic that disappointed enthusiasts. The Type S models are sporadic efforts rather than a coherent performance strategy. Incentive dependency has destroyed any premium positioning. Acuras now require thousands in discounts to move off lots. Lease deals are heavily subsidized to compete with BMW and Mercedes offers. This constant discounting tells customers that Acura is not really a luxury brand, but a near-luxury brand pretending to play in a tier it does not belong in. Honda corporate commitment questions are growing louder. Does Honda really believe in Acura, or is it maintaining the brand out of momentum rather than strategy? Investment in new Acura products seems minimal. Marketing budgets are dwarfed by Lexus spending. The brand feels like an afterthought to Honda executives focused on core Honda brand and electrification. Number 2. Nissan. The Japanese giant is imploding with zero sales at individual dealerships becoming common, as the brand collapses under reliability concerns and product stagnation. The transmission nightmare has destroyed Nissan's reputation permanently. Their CVT continuously variable transmissions have failed spectacularly across multiple model lines in years, generating class action lawsuits and creating a generation of burned customers who will never return. Repair costs often exceed $5,000, hitting owners shortly after warranties expire. Social media is filled with Nissan transmission failure stories that serve as warnings to potential buyers. Quality collapse has extended beyond transmissions to overall build quality. Nissan now ranks near the bottom of reliability studies from Consumer Reports and J.D. Power. Electrical issues, premature brake wear, interior material failures, and infotainment problems plague recent models. The gap between Nissan and Toyota quality has never been wider, destroying Nissan's value proposition. Product age crisis has left the lineup embarrassingly outdated. The Frontier pickup truck went over a decade without significant updates. The Versa and Sentra feel generations behind Civic and Corolla. Even newer models like the Rogue face criticism for cheap interiors and underwhelming powertrains. Walking through a Nissan showroom feels like visiting automotive history rather than shopping current products. Dealer closures are accelerating across the country. Major metropolitan areas that once supported 6 or 7 Nissan dealers now have 3 or 4 as unprofitable stores close. Remaining dealers are struggling with aged inventory and customer traffic that has dried up. Some dealers report months where they sell more used cars than new Nissans, a devastating reversal for a franchise built on new car sales. Corporate financial crisis at Nissan Global has eliminated any hope of quick recovery. The company is closing factories, cutting thousands of jobs, and retreating from markets. Investment in new product development has been slashed. The idea that Nissan will engineer its way back to competitiveness is fantasy when the company is in survival mode, cutting costs everywhere possible. Number 1. Dodge. The muscle car brand is facing extinction as electrification kills its entire identity. Recent months have seen zero Charger and Challenger sales at dealerships because Dodge stopped making them. The V8 era has ended, and what comes next is terrifying for a brand built entirely on horsepower and nostalgia. The Charger Daytona electric reveal was met with horror by the enthusiast community. Electric muscle car with fake exhaust sounds, a Charger that does not rumble. Dodge without a Hemi. The brand's core customers are not early adopters excited about electric performance. They are traditionalists who want big displacement V8 engines and the culture that surrounds them. Dodge is replacing its core product with something its core customers explicitly do not want. Identity crisis does not begin to describe Dodge's situation. The brand has spent 2 decades building an image around Hellcat horsepower, drag strip performance, and old-school muscle. Now it is pivoting to electric crossovers and performance EVs that contradict everything Dodge claimed to stand for. How do you maintain brand coherence through this transition? How do you keep Dodge Dodge when the defining characteristics are gone? Customer base alienation is already visible. Dodge forums and social media groups are filled with longtime customers promising to never buy an electric Dodge. These are not people resisting change. These are people who chose Dodge specifically because it resisted change and kept building the cars everyone else abandoned. They do not want efficiency. They do not want electric torque. They want supercharged V8s, and Dodge is telling them those days are over. Dealer inventory crisis has left showrooms empty of new muscle cars with no clear timeline for replacements. The Charger and Challenger are gone. The electric Charger has a vague production timeline. The Hornet crossover is not selling. Dealers have huge buildings and trained staff with nothing to sell. Some are filling space with used vehicles. Others are suffering through months of nearly zero new vehicle revenue. Parent company Stellantis has put all its chips on Dodge's electric transformation working. If American buyers reject electric Dodge products, the brand has no backup plan, no V8 to fall back on, no hybrid compromise, just an all-or-nothing bet that Dodge loyalists will follow the brand into electrification. Early signs suggest they will not. This is not a struggling brand. This is a brand in its final chapter, hoping for a miracle resurrection that may never come. So there you have it, 13 car brands that went from industry players to zero sales months and fire sale pricing. What this really shows is that in today's market, legacy means nothing. Brand loyalty is dead. If you do not give customers a compelling reason to choose you right now with current products and current quality, they will walk right past your showroom to a competitor who does. The irony is some of these brands still make decent vehicles, but they lost the one thing that matters most: relevance. Who joins this list next? Tell me in the comments which brand's collapse surprised you most. Smash that like button so more people see what is really happening behind the carefully managed press releases. And subscribe because this automotive apocalypse is just getting started and you need to know which brands are next.